Hey there, it's Brittany Chavers and I am back with Jessie James Beads, and we're going to make a fun Y necklace using the Magical Mystery Bead Box from July 2023. This box was so special. I loved it so much. It was the Welcome to the Bayou box. I just love the colors. It was one of my favorites of the year so far. So we're going to be making a Y style necklace, and what that means is it's just in the shape of a Y. We're gonna do a little twist on it today, but for the most part, the shape that I'm using is the Y shape. We're gonna be using this little alligator pendant that was in the box. I did an unboxing on my channel and showed you how to turn it into a bail, turn this little back piece into a bail on my channel. Check that out. And then we are going to be using most of the Cypress Grove mix. That was one of my favorite mixes in the box. A couple beads from the Bayou Bead mix. Some of this fabulous cord and some other little things for the necklace. For the first piece of the necklace, I'm going to grab some super glue. I've got this Loctite. This is my favorite for cord when we're gluing on end pieces. And I'm going to take my two end pieces that came with this awesome beaded cord, and I'm just gonna make a length. I'm gonna cut a length, and I'm just gonna use my regular scissors. I think this is gonna be pretty long. I think that's good enough, right about there. Okay. And then I am going to put the rest aside, just making sure, yeah, that's the length I want it. And I am going to grab my Loctite and squeeze some glue into both of my end findings. Get that in there. And I'm going to slip on one end. Oh, we got to cut off, I think, a couple of these beads before we can get that on there. And snip off a couple of these beads just so we can get that cord into our end findings. I'm going to smoosh that on there. There we go. Perfect. Hold it just for a few seconds. Then I'm going to move to the other side. It's not quite dry yet, so I'm kind of getting, you should not touch super glue with your fingers, but I'm just squishing mine off of there, cutting these pieces off. There we go. And finding my other end piece, gluing in there. Loctite is super easy to squeeze compared to some other super glues out there. And then squish this end in. And we're just gonna hold that in place for a little bit. Now that our ends are glued on, I am just going to hang my little alligator from the end of my cord. You may need 3 or 4 of these depending on how you want your alligator to lay. I'm going to check with 2 and see how it goes. And then if I feel like he's getting in the way of that end finding, then I'm just going to put on another 1 or 2. And there we go. Now he's hanging from the front of our leather. And it's so, like, I just love it. I just love it. I love how the leather kind of mimics the skin or the scales on the alligator. So we're gonna let that hang out for just a second. And then I'm gonna do my second Y tail. For this, I grabbed the Monstera. I grabbed one of the awesome wood coins and a pyramid from the Bayou Bead mix, this larger bead mix that was in the kit. I'm gonna put that there. I also have this bead strand called Grass Snake. Open this up. And I think I'm going to slip this rondelle right here. We're going to get some 22 gauge wire in just a moment. And I am going to wire wrap these together. I'm using Beadalon German style wire in 22 gauge. First I'm going to create a loop. And before I close that up, I'm going to slip that onto my Monstera. There we go. And then I am just going to hold on to that loop and bring that around my Monstera a couple times, or bring around the stem a couple times. Okay. And that Monstera is double-sided, so it doesn't really matter which side you clip your wire. All right. Then I'm going to slip on my wood bead, my bead cap, then my rondelle, and then my bead cap, and then my metal bead. So we have another pendant here. And it depends on how you want this to look. If you want, so the hole on the wood bead's a little large, so my wire wrap's going inside the wood bead. I don't really love how that looks. I want something that's a little bit smaller to prevent that from happening. So we have a couple choices. I have this really fun rhinestone bead that I could put on there. Let's see how that looks. Oh, I love that. That gives it even more sparkle. When is sparkle not a good thing? So we're going to go ahead and put these back on. Okay. So we have our bead stack. Like that. And then we're going to take this other chain that came in the kit, in the Magical Mystery Bead Box, and I'm going to measure it to be just a little bit shorter than our leather piece. It's going to be hanging right next to it, but I want some extra dimension by making it shorter. So let's see. I want that to be hanging right about there. And you could do this, you can measure this after you wire wrap, but I'm going to do it before. And I think we'll go with that long. You can measure and make it as long as you'd like or as short as you'd like. I'm going to start that wire wrap again. Like that. Pull it to the back. And then we're going to click it onto the chain directly. Before we wire wrap it closed. There we go. And we're just going to keep wiring wrapping until it looks the way you want it. Of course, I always love a messy wrap, so I'm going to go a little messy on this one. And then I'm going to snip it in the back. Like that. And we will make sure that it hangs and looks nice. Oh my gosh, I love these two together. I know the alligator's a little off camera at the moment, but they're so cute together. They're so cute together, and they're gonna be laying next to each other. Now, you could see this cord's having a little tendency to curl back up because that's how it was shipped. That's okay. Over time, this is gonna be hanging out, and the weight will straighten this out. But if you have extra time, I would say lay it under a book before you start your necklace for a few days, and then, or a heavy book for sure, and that'll straighten it out for you. But over time, it's gonna straighten out. Now, I did grab from my stash, from my Jesse James bead stash, some old chain from them, and it was made out of rings. I just need one ring. I think I'm gonna go with the larger ring. You can use anything. You can make a ring out of chain, or from chain you can make a ring out of 22 gauge wire, 20 gauge wire, 18 gauge wire, whatever you want to use. Just check your stash. I'm sure you'll be surprised at what you could use here. I'm going to take 2 jump rings. And I'm going to attach each of my pieces to that piece, to that ring. There's one. And there's 2. All right, so now we have our 2 pieces hanging next to each other, and this will be super cute when I show you it on my mannequin in just a few moments after we finish the necklace. So those are hanging down, okay, next to each other, both focals. They're really cute. Here is the alligator next to that monstera. And then we're gonna make the rest of the necklace. Now the rest of the necklace is just gonna be strung. I picked out, I think it's gonna be actually strung and some chain. I picked out most of the beads from the Cypress Grove mix. I really loved that mix with the neutrals and the gold. I got a couple of the smaller crystals out and the crystal rondelles. I'm going to take my 19 strand Beadalon stringing wire, and then I'm going to crimp onto my ring. Put my crimp on, grab my ring, come back through my crimp, and then move that down. We're going to make sure that there's enough of a connection there. Move that down, making sure that our wires are not crossed when we go to crimp. Squish. And then we're going to turn 90 degrees, move it up in the pliers, and then squish one more time. There we go. I will be finishing this necklace off with chain because I don't have enough beads to go around the entire necklace. I'm just going to split these up, and then we're just going to start stringing. I'm going to start with one of these little crystals, and then I'm going to start with the Dalmatian jasper bead, a spacer, a lava, rondelle, spacer, jasper, just pick a pattern that works for you. Okay, so this is the pattern I went with. Basically, I rotated between this metal bead and this metal bead and a stone bead and a lava bead. So I didn't have enough lava at the end, but that's okay. I put 2 stone next to each other. They're super cute like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and move this down. All right, and then I am going to take this beautiful chain reaction that also matches because it has some green on it. I am going to take off the jump ring in the back. Now be careful because the jump ring in the back of these is usually memory wire. So instead of cutting that, I would just take it off if you're able. Cutting that with your regular pliers will ruin them. You want to use memory wire cutters if you're gonna cut that. All right, so I'm gonna take my wire, my crimp tube, my chain, and come through the chain, and then come back through my crimp tube, find a bead, and then we're going to pull. Now it doesn't matter how tight this is because you don't need this to be super flexible. However, I'm not going to do it too tight to where it's just straight. However, the flexible part of the necklace is the chain, so you're not going to, if you do it too tight, it's not going to matter as much. All right, we're going to go ahead and squish and turn 90 degrees and squish again. And then we'll trim our extra wire. The good thing is I can use this piece because it's quite long to do the other side really quickly. Here is our finished product, and I love this necklace. It's such a statement. Everything about this necklace is a statement. We've got this beautiful alligator, this amazing cord, and such pretty beads and components from the July Magical Mystery Bead Box. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Jessie James Beads for having me back again. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Have a great day. Bye-bye.